and will bring crime back to law and order.
That is one promise made and then promise kept, because crime is back, baby, big time, actually, all over the place. We're gonna talk about nearly 100 instances where, according to a judge, just in the past month, ICE has violated judicial orders. And so this is Judge Schiltz, who I wasn't familiar with Judge Schiltz. You probably weren't familiar with Judge Schiltz. You're probably gonna read about him on Truth Social in the near future. But in any event, he attached to his ruling a list of 96 different court orders from 74 different immigration cases that ICE has failed to follow in the past 28 days alone. He noted that his tally was, quote, almost certainly substantially understated because it had been hurriedly compiled by extraordinarily busy judges. Gee, I wonder why they're so busy with this sort of thing recently when ICE is running amok and violating their orders all over the place. And so Schultz was appointed by George Bush, so theoretically a more conservative judge. That has never mattered so far. They'll be painting him as a hippie in the next day or two anyway. So in any event, where did we get this from? So this was attached to a ruling where the judge compelled the acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons, to appear over one specific case. And the way this played out was pretty fascinating, actually. So the judge determined that ICE had detained Mr. Tobe Robles under an improper reading of federal law, and 2 weeks ago instructed federal officials either to let him challenge his detention or release him. We've heard this sort of story many times. After that failed to happen, the judge then told Mr. Lyons to appear in front of him personally, but he provided a way out. He said that if Mr. Tobe Robles were quickly released, he would cancel the hearing with Mr. Lyons, and Mr. Lyons then wouldn't be dragged in front of a judge and potentially embarrassed or suffer some sort of legal consequences. And so what do you know? The man that they'd been holding with an improper reading of the law and then refusing to comply with judicial rulings about it, they released him on Tuesday. And I'm left wondering, was he the worst of the worst? If he was, I feel like you wouldn't have released him. I feel like Todd Lyons would have marched into that courtroom like, I got a murderer on my hands. But they didn't. Evidently, it's totally cool to just release him because he's not really a criminal at all. And yet, if that is the case, when the judge initially told you to release him, why were you so dead set on holding him if you evidently had no real reason to do so in the first place? That is one of these violations. We've got 95 others in the last 28 days. And it makes one wonder if it's substantially undercounted. Is it 200? Is it 300? What about December? What about November? We've all been like laboring under this fantasy that, oh dear God, at some point Trump may say, screw the judges, I'm not gonna do what they say. We are so far past that in so many ways, and not just Trump. This isn't like Trump is ordered to testify and he says, go kick rocks or whatever. This is his agents on the ground, their lawyers, the head of ICE, all the lackeys from top to bottom, all feeling like I don't need to comply with anything because there's not going to be any consequences if I don't. Honestly, I'm not even sure why they released the guy, because Todd Lyons could have just told the judge again to kick rocks, and what would have happened? Probably nothing. Now, I hope he doesn't watch this. I don't want to embolden them, but anyway, and again, so Apollo Racers is talking about this. They might well arrest the guy again too, and if they do, what will happen? Nothing, because there's nobody in any position to make anything happen. That's the dark position that we're in right now. And it is not just affecting the worst of the worst. It's not just affecting migrants at all. I will remind everyone, a US citizen said that an ICE agent threatened to put her on the terror watch list. And if she was put on it, she would be in good company because a lot of people are going on these lists, despite the fact that Trump officials all the way up to the top are denying that these lists exist at all. That is simply not the case. And friend of the show, Ken Klippenstein, has uncovered some of the details about this. So he said that 2 senior national security officials, speaking on condition of anonymity, told him that there are over a dozen secret and obscure watch lists that DHS and the FBI are using to track anti-immigration and customs enforcement, as well as pro-Palestine protesters, Antifa-affiliated individuals, which could mean God anything. You wore a black t-shirt and a profile picture once, and others who are promiscuously labeled domestic terrorists. That is a different use of the word promiscuous than I am familiar with. I also don't like it being affiliated with domestic terrorists. I don't like leftists being affiliated with domestic terrorists, especially when it's totally unjustly being done. And so not only do they have a list like this, they have many lists like this. I don't know, do they have one if you're, against genocide, you get put on this list. If you, if you posted something negative about ICE shooting a single mom in the face, you get put on a different list. I don't know. And I'm probably never gonna know unless senior officials leak more documents to Ken Klippenstein, because all of this is being done utterly opaquely. We don't get to know about any of this. Freedom of Information Act requests, get the hell out of here. Why are you gonna waste your time? And so leaks are the only way we get this information. And I'll end with just a bit more of what Ken was able to discover. Some of these, like Hummingbird, that's how they name some of these programs, something like Hummingbird, were created to vet and track immigrants. In this case, classified, this is Afghans seeking to settle in the United States. Slipstream is a classified social media repository. Others are tools used to link people on the streets together, including collecting on friends and families who have nothing to do with any purported lawbreaking. And at this point, I have to say, I have often made references, and I know a lot of people have, to Orwell, and certainly we are living in Orwellian times. The issue is that Orwell had to guess a lot decades in the future what the surveillance state would be like. And I think, at least by now, his imagination was not as expansive as it should have been, because they have so many more tools, they have so many more cameras, they have so many ways to log people and to analyze them and to link them. And much of this is probably fraught with issues, and people are being put on there, the wrong person, the wrong license plate. This happens constantly, and I have no doubt that AI is floor to ceiling through this entire thing, not only violating people's civil liberties, which the mere existence of these lists feels like that is already happening, but also probably putting the wrong people on there too. Putting a name down and then linking it to the wrong actual person in reality. This is, I would say, a great reason to have an entire series of congressional investigations, hearings, haul these people in, get them to expose the stuff, get the documents. Again, good luck with all of that, with the DOJ being headed up by a band of Trump lawyers. But at the very least, questions need to be asked, because the American people, I have to hope, do not like being surveilled everywhere they go. They do not like being put on secret government lists. I feel like Alex Jones has been talking about that exact thing for a very long time. And so at the very least, give us a couple of weeks of conversation about this. And maybe, just maybe, if they take over Congress in the midterms, we can at least get that. When your company is growing fast, damage control is essential, especially in order fulfillment. Before ShipStation, we'd spend hours tracking orders and following up with customers. Now, our team has cut that time in half. With ShipStation, you can basically let your shipping go on autopilot because it's just that easy now. The problem is usually too many disconnected tools. ShipStation solves that core problem. It's an intelligence-driven platform that brings order management, rate shopping, inventory, returns, and analytics all into one place. Connect to over 200 sales channels. And instead of 5 to 7 confusing apps, you've got just one command center. And here's the best feature. It compares rates from USPS, UPS, and FedEx, including your negotiated discounts, to find the best option for every order, with savings up to 90% off. Already have carrier rates? Bring them. Keep your discounts and add ShipStation's automation. Set up rules once, and ShipStation picks the best carrier, finds the best rate, prints labels in bulk, and even sends tracking updates. Those tracking updates alone cut customer service inquiries by 12%. Plus, their returns management and analytics show you exactly what's coming back and where you can optimize. Try ShipStation free for 60 days with full access to all features, no credit card needed. Go to ShipStation.com and use code DAMAGE for 60 days for free. 60 days gives you plenty of time to see exactly how much time and money you're saving on every shipment. That's ShipStation.com, code DAMAGE. ShipStation.com, code DAMAGE. If you enjoyed that, then make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming a member. So you're probably wondering, why would I do that? Well, when you do that, you get access to bonus content that I make every single week, and it's a lot of fun. You get custom emojis and more. If you join at tier 3, by the way, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself. And you'll get all that going forward, but you'll also unlock years of the back catalog that is literally 100 or more bonus clips and top 10 lists and debates and more. So what are you waiting for?